Monday, the 28th of January 2019, St. George Groves hangs up his boxing gloves for good. Coming off the back of that arse whooping that he just took from Callum Smith, George Groves has decided he doesn't want it anymore. George Groves has had a very varied career. That's the best way I can put it. 2 knockout losses to Carl Froch, a split decision loss to Badu Jack. It looked like George Groves couldn't have got any lower. But as a twist of fate came in his direction, the WBA super middleweight title had been vacated, and somehow George Groves found himself in a position to fight for the vacant title. Um, and he got in a fight with Fedor Chudinov, knocking him out in the 6th round. That was back in May 2017. He then defended his belt twice in 2 all-English clashes, once against Jamie Cox in October 17 and then against Chris Eubank Jr. in the Muhammad Ali super middleweight tournament in February 18. The end of the road came for George when Callum Smith absolutely laid the smackdown on him um, in September 2018, a devastating knockout. All the George Groves fanboys were all over the place talking about how he was going to take Callum Smith to school with that battering ram jab. I didn't see it. To be fair, going into the fight, I actually thought that George Groves coming off that Chris Eubank fight was actually going to win, was going to be the favourite. But Callum Smith, with his um, ridiculous size advantage, he was too much and he just smashed George to pieces. George has clearly decided that he doesn't want to rebuild his career, which is a shame because I think a lot of us hardcore boxing fans, we were out there hoping we might see George Groves versus James DeGale one more time, or if by some miracle Chris Eubank could go on to win one of the 4 proper super middleweight titles, maybe see George Groves versus Eubank in a rematch. But no, George Groves has decided to call it a day. He doesn't want to go up in weight, but then again, I don't think he ever struggled to make the weight. What are your thoughts? I've never been the biggest George Groves fan out there, so I'm not going to pretend to be and start kissing his ass on this channel. This is not what I'm about. This is just a channel where I give my honest opinion. I think George Groves had a very good jab. Yes. The best? No. I think that he had an alright right hand, wasn't the most powerful, um, and I think he had a slightly questionable chin. I think, if Chris Eubank would have went in there with a better game plan, he might have got the result he was looking for. But, in that fight, Chris Eubank started swinging more than Deontay Wilder. And, it wasn't meant to be. But I think George Groves, that arse whooping that he took against Callum Smith, that was definitely the end of the road. What's next for George Groves? I could see him going into some sort of punditry, maybe commentary, maybe even giving back to the community and becoming a boxing trainer or some sort of coach in the gyms. One thing we do know is that George Groves, after fighting through that Muhammad Ali tournament and getting all the way to the final, he's not going to be short of a fiver. So, he can have options, or maybe he can stay at home with his family and raise his kids. Good luck to George Groves, whatever he decides to do next, but maybe it's the best thing. In my previous video for what next for Callum Smith, if you've already watched that, or go back and watch it if you haven't, I did say I haven't heard anything from George Groves. But yeah, clearly this is it. He's made the decision now that he wants to hang up the gloves, and as the boxing community, all we can do is wish him well. I know some of you fanboys out there, you're going to be running your mouth off talking about this CV and that CV, but plain as day, his 2 biggest wins was Chris Eubank Jr., who a lot of people don't rate, and Martin Murray, who even more people don't rate. The other times he stepped up, twice against Carl Froch, lost. Badu Jack, lost. Callum Smith, lost. So in my opinion, he's an alright fighter. He's not going to go down as one of the all-time greats, but 2 title defenses after winning a vacant belt, he's in the history books. He's a world champion, so I can only wish him the best of luck. Let me know your thoughts on the whole George Groves situation. Obviously, I've given you mine. Thank you.